Madam, the bill which has been moved just now has been rightly described by the Prime Minister as a non controversial bill and as a bill which is very useful in order to develop the atomic energy in our country. The bill provides for the regulation of radioactive and other prescribed substances which are to be used, which are being handled, which might be produced, and which might be imported, so that there may not be any hazards which are incidental to the handling of such substances, and adequate rules are to be made regarding them. As far as these rule making powers are concerned, madam, there is one aspect of it which needs some consideration, namely, as far as the production of these substances in the country itself is concerned, the establishments in which these substances are going to be produced are to be governed and controlled as far as the safety measures are concerned and as far as the factory acts are concerned by the central government. As far as this provision is concerned, it is desirable because these are not just ordinary factories, but these are factories that have to deal with certain substances for which special protection is necessary, and perhaps the Atomic Energy Commission is the right authority to determining what type of production is necessary for that. At that time, in the rule making power which the central government has taken, precaution should be taken to see that the safety measures regarding of other aspects of the matter as far as the work of the labor in these factories is concerned are also of the same standard, if not of a better standard, as those provided for in the Factories Act elsewhere. That is, attention should not be concentrated only on the hazards incidental to the handling of these substances, but other amenities to which the workers are entitled in ordinary factories should also be provided for in any rules that might be made under this measure. Along with this precaution, this power is absolutely necessary, and therefore I support the same. Secondly, there is the question of acquiring certain materials which might yield useful substances that are necessary for the development of atomic energy. The idea perhaps is to get all these materials within the control of the Atomic Energy Commission, because these substances are very rare and they are to be conserved. This raises the question of research and the facilities for inquiry which might be available to an ordinary citizen who may not be fortunate enough to have some employment or admission into these atomic energy establishments. It is perhaps one of the conditions of modern life that any scientific research and inquiry involve dangerous implications, so that they are to be controlled and coordinated under the aegis of the government, and to that extent perhaps the freedom of inquiry. The history of scientific development has shown that all the worthwhile inquiries, or many of the worthwhile inquiries and inventions, have been made by people who are not easily amenable to any coordination or regulation of the type to which the government is normally accustomed, and therefore some scope has to be left for free inquiry by these geniuses in the community also. I do not know how that can be done, but perhaps one way of doing it will be to disseminate as much of scientific information as is possible in the community to the largest possible extent, so that at least as far as the paperwork is concerned, no one is handicapped. I am just a layman and I am not quite acquainted with the various types of developments that are going on regarding the issues connected with the development of atomic energy, but there seems to be some indication that any worthwhile jump that will now come in this particular field is likely to be on the theoretical plane, because as far as the practical aspects are concerned, we have reached a dead end and it is not possible to go beyond that. In view of this, it is all the more necessary that as far as the theory is concerned and as far as the basic material connected with this theory is concerned, it is disseminated to the largest possible extent in our community so that our people may become conscious of the type of work that is going on and of the type of work that is needed in order to make further progress in this field and various other fields in this country. Thirdly, there is the question of acquiring certain mineral rights as far as these substances are concerned. Here again, it is necessary that the authority should be centralized, and obviously it would be in the hands of the central government and the Atomic Energy Commission. But again, this also raises the further question of paying adequate attention to the interests of the state that are concerned in whose areas these mines are located. Sir, 1987 has been a year of persistent challenge and of determined response by the government. It has been a year of achievement in the face of great difficulties. Some difficulties were caused by disruptive forces within the country, some difficulties by disruptive forces inspired from abroad, and some difficulties were caused by the weather. When in 1966 to 1967 Indraji launched the Green Revolution, she too was faced with similar difficulties, weather difficulties. It was her far-sightedness that has given our free economy the strength and resilience with which it has met the present crisis, with which we have been able to meet the present crisis entirely through our efforts and our endeavor. We have not carried the begging ball to anyone. We have not compromised on our freedom of action. At that time, Indraji's strategy was opposed by many experts and technicians. It was opposed by certain myopic elements in the opposite benches. Indraji prevailed because of her faith in the efforts of our Kisans, because of her confidence in the ability of our scientists, because of her trust in the performance of our extension workers. She assured farmers of the required inputs at reasonable prices despite the burden of subsidizing on our economy. She gave the farmers remunerative prices as the cardinal principle of the new strategy. She nationalized the banks to give credit at the doorstep of the farmer. She initiated a system of country-wide procurement to stabilize the prices that the farmers would get. Indraji ensured that her strategy looked to the interests of all sections of our rural community, not just the farmer, but also the small and marginal cultivator, landless laborer, and even the rural artisan. We doubled our output in 2 decades because of her integrated vision of rural India, her sympathy and understanding for each segment of our rural society, because of her assiduous attention to inputs, to costs, and to subsidies. Today, after 4 years of bad monsoon, 2 years of poor rains followed by 2 years of severe drought, we can hold our heads high and look to the future with confidence because Indraji laid the foundations which were sure, sound and secure. Our drive to maximum the Rabi output in meeting with encouraging success. We hope to limit the shortfall to 10%, but the problem is not entirely over. During the past year, we have done much to mitigate the distress of drought. Relief programs have been handled efficiently by and large by all the states. The ceiling of assistance has been put at the high level of rupees 14,000 crore, with almost half of it earmarked for Gujarat and Rajasthan as they were the most severely hit. Surcharges on taxes have been used so that the burden does not fall on the poor and only the rich has borne this burden. Using food grain buffer stocks, we have launched programs to general employment to build assets to cushion against future droughts. Through worthwhile relief schemes, we have ensured that expenditure on relief became expenditure on development. We have rushed fodder from areas of surplus to areas of scarcity. Special schemes for drinking water have been implemented, and we have taken up special programs for boosting the demand for the output of the village artisans and the landloom weavers. This is especially important because these are sections who normally get let out and they face very severe consequences of the side effects of a drought. The genesis of the Green Revolution was the scientific breakthrough which brought